Now, moving on to the summary and conclusions of this virtual conference meet. And for this, I would like to invite on screen Dr. Saurabh Arora, Treasurer AOAC India section. He is heading the contract testing and research business at Arbro and Auriga since 2005. In this capacity, he has designed and set up six state-of-the-art testing laboratories in New Delhi, Manesar, Baddi and Bangalore. He is currently leading a team of over 400 scientists and professionals who work in these laboratories, which serve clients in the food, retail, hospitality, nutraceutical, pharmaceutical, cosmetics, agri, medical device, research, academics, and infrastructure industries. He holds a doctorate in pharmaceutics from Jamia Hamdard University and Masters in Pharmaceutical Technology from the National Institute for Pharmaceutical Education and Research. He has invented, patented, and commercialized nanotechnology-based delivery system for curcumin, that is SNEC30, the active constituent of turmeric, that is Haldi. He is currently the treasurer of India section of AOAC International and has authored numerous articles, studies, and research reports for national and international journals and magazines. He has a passion for sharing and spreading knowledge. For this, he founded and established the Food Safety Helpline, which helps the food industry stay up to date and understand and implement the requirements of the Food Safety and Standards Act 2006. He also founded labtraining.com, an e-learning platform for professionals and aspiring students, which not only helps students to learn practical aspects of analytical techniques, but also aids the professionals with the fundamental understanding of working in a laboratory and the associated processes, systems, and procedures. And hereby, I welcome you, Dr. Saurabh Arora, over here. Good evening and welcome.
Thank you so much for that introduction, and it has been a wonderful session, and we've had very good attendance since morning. This is a very important topic, and often we see that actually authenticity and safety aspect, specifically related to adulteration and authenticity, is often overlooked, and most events are focusing on hardcore safety in terms of pesticides, metals, the hardcore safety parameters that are there. But these authenticity and adulteration, the food safety related aspect is equally important. Often when we are, in the laboratory and talking to the senior people who have worked during the PFA regimen and now transitioned into the FSSAI. So what we do see there is that PFA was, the regulations were totally focused on adulteration and more on the economically motivated adulteration, and all the tests and everything was focused there because at that time there was simple adulteration, ranging from things like putting sand in salt, adding pieces of stone into rice, and a lot of use of artificial colorants to enhance the values. So from there, the sophistication level of the authenticity challenges that the regulators and the labs and all the stakeholders are facing has really changed. So along with the changes in the challenges, we have seen that FSSAI has also adapted itself, and we have these new regulations coming in. Honey being the prime example, which was discussed extensively today, where we are now not only looking at simple adulteration, but also talking about the origin, whether it is monofloral or all. So, it was a very interesting session, and I hope everybody has really enjoyed it. And I would now like to thank all the speakers for their contribution, starting with Shri Arun Singhal, the CEO of FSSAI, under whose dynamic leadership now, FSSAI is continuing its all initiatives and working hard. And with his talk, he really did set the mood for today's deliberations, because he so simply defined and explained what really food authenticity and food safety and is, and what are the challenges really that we are facing and how FSSAI is navigating this. So I thank sir for his words. After that, Mr. Srinivas Joshi gave a wonderful insight into the activities of AOAC India, and as our president, he has really pushing and working very hard. I must share with you personally that even both of us are talking maybe 4 times a day, and all the team, executive committee, everybody, right from Kaushik sir, Srinivas, Vishal, Ganesh, everybody on the team is working very hard. So I think Srinivas very nicely summarized the outcome of the hard work of the entire team. Then we had Dr. Pamal Orlandi, who is brought in front the complexity of the food supply chain, and also some startling numbers. I was really surprised that there are 163 potential adulterants in milk. So that really brings to light the analytical challenge that we are really facing. So as labs, regulators, industry, we really need to keep on updating our approaches and methods to really fight these challenges. And AOAC is rightly working in this, and it shows how proactive AOAC International really is. That with these challenges in increasing day by day. 2019, the economically motivated adulterant methods were started to be worked on, and we have methods already in the pipeline there. After that, we had Miss Peggy Monson, who very nicely talked about the SPFAN initiative. And SPFAN is a wonderful example. I have been fortunate to sit on some of the and listen into the expert review panels and the process. The SPFAN has really shown that the SMPR and development system has really brought so much of speed and better quality into the process through which AOAC is really developing the methods. And it is no small task to have 15 final action methods and more than 17 more methods already in the pipeline in such a short span of time. So that was a wonderful thing to see into, and also understand more what Abbott is doing globally and in India to support the method development initiatives. After that, Kaushik Banerjee sir, in his capacity as the chair for the sections committee, shared really the vision of AOAC International for the international sections which are there, and how they are expecting them to contribute. I just need to put it on. And I was happy to see Dr. Banerjee really highlighting all the work which has been done at the AOAC India section and what other sections are doing as well. Then we had Chris Elliott, Dr. Chris Elliott, another really intriguing talk. I was really fascinated by the concept of the eye knife and how they are using it, and something which can give you results in seconds, and that depth of results, where you're able to look at the identity, origin, even the way the fish has been caught, something that much of information for us to be able to pick up. I got fascinated, and I think everybody must have Googled chemometrics and started thinking of how we will be able to use this in our labs. Because I think chemometrics and these advanced techniques are definitely going to be very much required, and capacity building and understanding on these aspects is really important as we move and talk more about food authenticity. Then we had a talk from Dr. Lalita, in which she very in detail shared with us about honey, the different types of honey, different sources, how it is processed, and covering the isotope ratio, mass spectrometry, which we know, but at the same time also talking about very interesting things like sugar profiling, free amino acid profiling, conductivity, and the chemometrics, methods which can be applied on these to get the origin and authenticity of honey. So that was also a real eye opener, because for me at least, when I think of it, honey was usually just limited to FG ratios, HMF, chemical parameters, and the IRMS. But knowing that there are other techniques also which can be explored for the origin and authenticity, it was a really wonderful talk going into that. Then I thank Dr. Bhaskar. He's always wonderful talks that he has, and they bring such deep insight into the topics. And the best thing is that when you get these deep insights from him, it is presented in a simple way which will stick in your mind. And that's what Sir did this case also, showing so many wonderful examples and giving us some actionable acronyms like DART, DNA, and rest, and how we can really look at the future of ensuring the authenticity of the fish and controlling the economically motivated nutrition which is happening there potentially. And I think this is some area where we don't have any data for India. So it would be of great interest to really understand the real financial implications and what is happening by implementing these things. Then I thank Dr. Mais. She gave a very good overview of the economically motivated nutrition over the last 50 years. So, usually when we talk about food authenticity, we are stuck at 2008 when we all start from melamine. But it was really nice to understand how it started way back and has been there for a long time. And also, she really highlighted the impact in terms of the huge number of people who are exposed to these frauds. 600 million people. So it's a huge number, 1 in 10 in the world being exposed, and 420,000 deaths. That's a very worrying number, and it really highlights again to all of us really the importance of the entire activity of identifying and controlling the food frauds. Uh, After that, we had a talk from Dr. Simon, and I always love listening to him on how clearly and in a step-by-step fashion he presents how the regulatory framework should be laid out, how the investments need to be made, and what all needs to be done from investments into generating the data, doing the risk assessments, capacity building, and a very holistic approach towards regulating and ensuring the food safety. So I thank Dr. Simon for that wonderful coverage. And after this, we took a deep dive into the ongoing SLV work and the melamine cyanuric acid work which is going on with the tremendous support from the entire Abbott team. You will be surprised to know we talk every second week for a couple of hours on this method, sharing the updates. And we're fortunate to have Tom on these calls with Rajesh and Sandeep and the entire team. So Tom very nicely covered the history of the melamine and also how the toxicity came up, how cyanuric acid is involved in it. I used to, I'm sorry for my ignorance, but I used to sometimes think cyanuric acid is actually maybe a byproduct of melamine, but that's where the importance of really understanding the origin of the whole thing is very important. So that was very nicely presented by him. After that, we had Dr. Kaushik Banerjee covering the details of the method development and the single lab validation which is going on in his lab with support from Abbott. So he covered in depth the different approaches that are there in literature as well as what the lab is trying, and also highlighting the financial aspects also. The economical aspects of method development are also very important. We can go ahead and have very good methods, but if they're too expensive, hello, yeah, I hope I answered that. So that was very nicely covered along with the practical details of all the work which has been done in the lab on the method. And we are quite hopeful that in next 4 to 6 weeks, this work will get covered up. Lastly, we had Rajesh Girdhar. Thank you so much. Rajesh ji always holds us as AOAC to a very high standard, holds us accountable, and also in terms of his expectations of methods, capacity building, and all. He's very clear on that. So he very nicely covered that, and I think he gave the best explanation on the entire activities and the recognition which the hard work of the entire team of AOAC India section is getting. By sharing his inputs on how people are responding globally during the AOAC international meeting and the work we are doing together. So I thank you so much, Rajeshji, and we assure you we will live up to your expectations and together because you are an equally important stakeholder. Everybody, academia, the regulators, the FSSAI, the instrument suppliers, labs like us, industry, all of us are playing our role and working together to make AOAC and all our events and all are working successful. And I'm sure you all must also be noticing that we have graduated and are doing much more technical and concrete work over the years. So I thank you all so much for your support and for being here with us. And it's back to the team. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for being with us. And this was Dr. Saurabh Arora. And it was eventually a very great session, sir. And though we are going through a COVID thing, and thanks to this internet and media, that I hope it all went really well.
Thank you so much to the team behind the scenes, our team Milestone, always supporting us and doing all the hard work behind the scenes. Thank you so much. Thank you to everybody who attended. We've actually had more than 200 people go through the event today. And thank you so much. Please feel free to keep sharing your questions. We'll try and have most of them answered.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for being with us.